So, I was on my way to university today, and naturally I read the newspaper because there was nothing else to do while on the tram. I was reading through it and I found this interesting little mini article on it, as you can see here on the screen. Now, if you guys aren't visibly watching this, as you probably don't do with my rants, I'll just go ahead and read it out for you. The article is about video games, namely the violent ones, perverting morals. The article says, and I quote, "Children who play violent video games can't tell the difference between right and wrong in real life," a news story suggests. Game players aged 13 who spend up to 3 hours a day on shoot-'em-up games lack social maturity compared with those who don't play, Canadian researchers behind the report say. This is again another finger pointing, saying that violent video games do not help, they are the devil and they should be removed. Well, I think I might as well say my thoughts on this report. I think the report is absolute bullshit. Now you're probably wanting me to back up why I think this is bullshit, and I happily will. The evidence is yours truly. When I was around 13, I played a very violent video game called Grand Theft Auto 3. At that age, I knew what was morally wrong and morally right, even after playing it. When I was even younger, 7 or 8 years old, I played the Tomb Raider games, another violent video game. And you know what? My morals have not been perverted. At least I don't think they are. I don't know, I would imagine that stealing cars is bad, killing people is bad, prostitution is bad, being a vigilante, while good in some ways, is mostly bad. Being a taxi driver is good, but the way you do it in Grand Theft Auto 3 is bad, the same with the ambulance. You get what I'm saying here? To say that this report has any degree of truth, the thing that they don't seem to get is that video games are not the reason behind a lot of this stuff. I mean, let's go ahead and look at several massacres that have happened in the United States and England over the past couple of years, although I will be focusing primarily on the United States ones because those are more documented. The Columbine High School Massacre, as we know, is where 2 boys killed, I believe it was 29 people before turning their guns on themselves. Many people were quick to blame Doom for this, when, as a matter of fact, it turns out that both of them were suffering from depression and schizophrenia. Video games are not to blame for that. That's down to the fact that they had a mental problem. I won't completely deny that video games might not have fueled some of that rampaging desire, but you can't just say, oh, well, they played a video game, so it must be their fault. The Virginia Tech Massacre was also another one. Again, the person played video games, but for one thing, he hadn't played a violent video game in about a decade. He was playing games like Sonic. So, if by that logic, Sonic the Hedgehog is a violent video game and must be oppressed, according to these people that believe that video game violence is bad, because, hey, it apparently made somebody go on a rampage. No, it's because the guy had mental issues. You see, every single massacre that has happened, that video games have been blamed on, the offenders have always shown signs of depression or some mental phase that promotes violence or, drives them to do that kind of stuff. It is not all about video games. And this report, to me, just shows how out of tune these researchers are when it comes to video games, okay? Are you trying to tell me that video games pervert morals? Violent video games pervert morals. Yet violent movies, violent books, violent radio shows that you can hear, because I'm pretty sure they still do that. But if not, then just go back to the violent book and the violent film and TV. You're telling me, okay, you're telling me like something like Breaking Bad, which a kid probably watches at that age, wouldn't pervert morals. Okay, you're telling me that Breaking Bad is perfectly okay, but then a game like Grand Theft Auto, oh no, shame it, it's the entire reason behind everything. See, here's the thing. As it stands, video games are just being a scapegoat for blaming. You know, people just... It's a new thing. It's only 30 years old. Whereas if books have been around for centuries, movies have been around for well over 100 years, TV's been around for around 80 years, they just want a scapegoat. And they are just picking on video games. Why not parenting? Okay, you're like saying, oh, well, these 13-year-olds are playing up to 3 hours a day playing shoot-'em-up games. Okay, what kind of shoot-'em-up games? Are they playing games relevant for their age rating? Because if that's the case, then legally they're perfectly fine. That, you know, that's the rating system. It's the reason the rating system existed, okay? We had games like Mortal Kombat and Night Trap that came out without any rating boards. The rating boards were there to protect our children from these things, okay? So if you're making them play a shoot 'em up that's, you know, for 13-year-olds, well, guess what? A bunch of people at the ESRB and Peggy thought, okay, we've reviewed this game, we believe that this game is valid in this area, okay? And if you're gonna say, oh, well, the shoot 'em games we made them play was Call of Duty. Call of Duty is an 18-plus game, so you are fucking idiots if you're gonna go ahead and make 13-year-olds play an 18-plus game, because of course their morals will be perverted because of that, and it's not solid evidence because you have basically made them play a game which, according to the ESRB, they should not be playing. I'm not saying that this report is 100% a complete lie, because I'm almost certain that there are people whose morals will be perverted if they played a shoot-'em-up game for 3 hours when they were 13, okay? I perfectly understand that, but as a person who has done that, and as a person who solidly believes that while video games should take some blame, they shouldn't take all the blame that they take right now when there are people being hypocrites, when there's like violent film and violent books and violent TV shows. As I said, Breaking Bad, I'm pretty sure Breaking Bad will pervert some morals for 13-year-olds, because, you know, people will watch it because once that thing is out, it's beyond the producer's control. I'm just saying that this report does not help in any way. It's not, there are too many what ifs to make this report genuine. We haven't moved anywhere. Okay? This has not cleared up anything in terms of the connection between violence and video games. Okay? This has not done anything because of the simple fact that it is vague. What shoot 'em ups? And, you know, were the shoot 'em ups actually the, you know, rating that the ESRB gave him, or were you just like, here, have Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or Call of Duty Dogs, and go ahead and play it. And then at the end of it you say, well, these 13-year-olds played an 18-plus game, and their morals are now perverted. Okay, no, that is just being biased. That is just hating video games and just trying to stack the evidence in your favor. This is getting stupid, guys. I keep seeing these reports saying, oh, well, video games prove this, video games prove that. And I even hate the ones that say that video games are a good thing, because every single person that researches it does not know what the fuck they're talking about, okay? These Canadian researchers, I'm pretty sure are like psychologist researchers. Well, okay, yeah, sure. You've got half of it, but you don't know shit about video games. So you can't really say that you're going to do a research on the psychology that video games cause if you only know half of it, okay? That's like having to make a statue of the Mona Lisa and only knowing how to do the hair, okay? Yeah, sure, you can make that statue of the Mona Lisa, but you only know how to use the hair, so it won't be as good, it won't be as believable, okay? I'll see you guys next time.